Hi, my name is Jolly Ambla, the last reporter of Group 5. So today, we will discuss the constructive and nature of memory. So, let's proceed to the memory as reconstructive. So, what is the memory as reconstructive? So, when we try to remember something, our brain reconstruct the memory by pulling together different pieces of information. So, ito na yung part na kapag may gusto tayong maalala pero hindi natin siya kaagad-agad maalala kasi kinakailangan pa natin siyang paunti-unting alalahanin yung gusto natin i-recall bago natin siya maalala. So, the next one is the, the memory as reconstructive. So, what is the memory as reconstructive? So, the memory as reconstructive that our previous experience and knowledge shape what we recall. This is where context comes into play. So, ito na yung memory na ma-recall pero di na kailangan nung kanina na kailangan paunti-unti mo siya alalahanin bago mo siya maalala. Which is, maalala, kapag once na sinabi mo kaagad yung event na yun, maalala mo siya at hindi siya blurry or putol-putol. So the next one is autobiographical. Memory refers to the memories to have about own lives and experiences. So ito naman yung pangyayari sa buhay mo na ikaw lang yung nakakaalam. Ikaw mismo. So, ikaw yung makakaalala kasi ikaw lang yung naka-experience nun. So, let's proceed to the key characteristics. So, first one is constructive nature. So, we don't remember events perfectly. Our memories can be shaped by our feelings, thoughts, and what we believe about ourselves and the world. So, dito naman na part is, ito na yung memory na similar sa reconstructive memory, pero ang difference niya, mag-base yung memory sa emotion mo that time. Kumbaga, di mo siya ma-recall perfectly, pero maalala mo yung event na yun depende sa emotion na naranasan mo that time. For example, nag-away kayo ng jowa mo 5 years ago. Pero once na i-bring up mo yun, di mo maalala yung perfect details, pero maalala mo yung dahilan nung breakup nyo. So, because of that emotion na naranasan mo, within that time, maalala mo siya or ma-recall mo siya. So, the next one is variable accuracy. While people often remember significant life event, well, accuracy can vary. So, may similarity ito sila nung constructive memory, pero ang pagkakaiba or difference lang nila is clear sa mind mo yung mga nangyayari, very sharp yung image and accurate pa yung mga event. For example, is yung best memory mo, which is may Christmas party. So, itong party na to, itong type ng party na to, di mo siya makakalimutan kasi nga, sobrang saya mo that time. So, kahit ilang taon pa yung nagdaan, maalala at maalala mo pa rin kasi masaya ka dun sa time na yan. So, the next one is distortion. So, autobiographical memories can be distorted, details so may be added, altered, or forgotten, leading to a memory that feels real but isn't entirely accurate. So, ito naman is yung combination ng reconstructive and constructive. Since di mo na ma-recall yung memory na yon, kahit sinusubukan mo, it may lead naman na ito na pag-iisipan mo yung specific event na hindi naman included dun sa memory na yon, which is result naman sa hindi pagiging accurate ng memory mo or yung gusto mong maalala. So, let's proceed to the key concept. So, serial position effect. This principle suggests that we tend to remember the first and last items in a list better than those in the middle. So, ito naman yung part ng memory which is very similar sa reconstructive, pero ang kinahibahan naman nito is di na need ng pagtuunan yung gitnang story ng memory, which is yun yung sinusubukan natin alalaanin or inaalala yung first and last event ng memory. So, the next one is self-esteem and memory. So, people with a high self-esteem are likely to recall more positive experiences, while those with low self-esteem of depression may remember more negative events. So, Ito naman yung dalawang type ng tao when it comes sa memory. May mga tao na mataas ang self-esteem which is nagre-result ng pagiging positive nila. So may ibang tao din na may low kumbaga may low self-esteem which yun yung nagiging reason bakit puro negative yung naalala nila. So the next is the memory distortion. So when recalling memories, people often get small details wrong but usually remember the main ideas accurately. This is protective mechanism. Focusing on central details helps avoid confusion from too many minor specifics. So, karamihan sa pag-aalala ng event, may mga tao na nagkakamali ng kaunti sa pag-specify ng event. Pero yung main idea, accurate nilang naalala. So, isa rin to sa type na, isang type din ito ng, kumbaga, defense mechanism para maiwasan yung pagkakaroon ng misunderstood or misunderstanding. So, the next one is flashbulb memories. So, these are vivid memories of significant event, often recalled with great clarity as if they were captured on film. So, ito na yung perfect sample nito, yung mga taong namatay na pero may theory kasi, kumbaga, may theory. After mamatay ng body, ang isang organ na lang nagpa-function sa atin, which is yung utak. So, which is nag-replace kumbaga, nag-replay yung perfect memories. Kumbaga, after mo mamatay, then 7 minutes, di ba? 7 minutes magpa-function pa yung utak mo. Kumbaga, magkakaroon ng replay sa memory. Kumbaga, perfect memory. Parang pinapanood mo kumbaga, parang pinapanood mo yung mga past memory mo nung nabubuhay ka pa, like parang movie. Kumbaga, perfectly na detailed, akala mo movie siya, pero hindi pala kasi nga, nung time na yun is namatay ka na. Pero, yung limit niya lang talaga is 7 minutes. So, after nun, mamamatay na si brain. So, after ng pag-recall niya perfectly image, parang movie, mamamatay na si brain after 7 minutes. So, the next one is the role of emotion. Emotional involvement enhances memory retentions. However, emotional details might not be remembered as well as non-emotional facts about the event. So, dito naman is ma-specify mo yung memory of that event. It's because of the emotion na meron ka. Pero yung other details ng memory, di mo na maalala because wala kang nararamdaman na emotion that time. Kaya, hindi mo na siya maalala or ma-recall. Distortion in flashbulb memories. Interestingly, flashbulb memories are not immune to distortion. A study found that more than 70% of people thought they saw the first place hit the tower, even though that the footage wasn't available until later. So, this shows that the way we remember events can be changes over time. So, ang type na emotion na to, meron kasi tayong state of shock na nararanasan when a specific event happened unexpectedly. Once na-shock ka, although nakita mo yung mismong event na yon, it takes time to understand. Parang nagpa-process pa yung consciousness mo. Although nakita mo yung pangyayari, it because of your reaction and emotion, di mo agad mapaprocess yung nangyari na yon, which is nagre-result na kumbaga late understanding na. So, brain involvement. The medial temporal lobe is crucial for recalling autobiographical memories. Damage to this area can lead to difficulties in recalling recent event but not older ones. So, once na-damage yung brain mo, within any particular or any part of the brain, it may result of loss of memory. Although you can remember your memory pero di na ganon ka-accurate, it's because of the damage in your brain. So the next one is the distortion in memory. We have 7 scenes of memory. The first one is transience. Our memories fade over time. So the next one is absent mindedness. Sometimes we forget what we're doing. So the third one is blocking. This is when you should remember something but it just won't come to mind. So, the fourth one is misattribution. We often confuse where we learn something. So, next is suggestibility. Our memories can be influenced by suggestion from others. So, next is bias. Our current feelings can be affect how we recall past events. So, the last one is persistence. We often remember certain events more strongly than others, even if they weren't that important. So, let's proceed to the studying eyewitness. So, eyewitnesses are often considered reliable, but studies suggest they can be very inaccurate. So, influences of eyewitnesses. So, the first one, confidence misjudge. So, eyewitnesses who are confident in their identification can still be wrong. So, why? So, bakit nga ba? Sa part na to, example, sabihin na natin na nakita mo yung jowa ng tropa mo, pero di talaga yun yung jowa ng tropa mo kasi nga, since na napagkamalan mo lang yun kasi nga, magkahawig sila. Pero, yun, nagsumbong ka pa rin sa tropa mo na ganito ganyan, na may kasama yung jowa niya na ganito ganyan. So, after nun, magre-result yun ng pag-aaway ng dalawa. So, dahil dun sa maling identification mo, may nag-aaway. Or, dahil sa maling identification na nakita mo, may nag-aaway. So, let's proceed to the leading question after the witnessing an event. If you're asked misleading question, your memory can change. So, bakit nga ba? May mga bagay kasi na nakita natin, pero once na tinanong tayo, kahit di na related dun sa nakita natin, is gagawa na lang tayo ng sarili nating explanation. So, may dalawang option yan. Kasi it's either na sasagutin mo yung tanong based sa memory mo, or gagawa ka na lang ng explanation mo dun sa tanong na yun. So, the next one is line up problem. So, when identifying a suspect in a lineup, witnesses may feel pressured to choose someone even if the actual suspect isn't there. So, bakit? For example, na-witness mo yung isang crime scene. Since ikaw yung nasa crime scene, ikaw ang primary witness. So, ngayon, may 5 suspect. Ngayon, ituturo mo lang kung sino yung actual na gumawa nung crime or krimen na yon. Ngayon, it's because of your pressure, sa sobrang pressure mo sa pagpili kung sino talaga yung ituturo mo na suspect. Kasi nga, nag-overthink ka na may possibility na babalikan ka nung suspect na yon. So, ikaw na yung titirahin niya, ganon. So, nag-overthink ka. So, nadagdagan yung pressure. So, pwede na hindi mo mapili yung suspect na yun kasi nga dahil dun sa pressure na nararamdaman mo. So, the impact of stress. High stress situation like witnessing a crime can lead to poor memory recall. As stress level rise, the accuracy of memories typically declines. So, ito naman is, kumbaga, meron kang nakitang krimen, no? So, ikaw yung naging witness. So ngayon, tinanong ka nung police or investigator na ganito, ganyan, ano ba yung nangyari? Hindi mo masasabi kaagad nga kasi nga, kumbaga, napipressure ka, nai-stress ka that time. So, kumbaga, paiba-iba yung mga information or detail na binibigay mo. So, hindi mo siya nabibigay ng exact or accurately yung information na witness mo doon sa krimen na yon. Children as eyewitnesses. So, children's memory are especially vulnerable to distortion. They can be easily influenced by suggestive questioning. For instance, if an adult implies that the child saw something, the child may create a false memory of that event. So, younger children are particularly susceptible. They may just want to please this questioner and give an answer even if they're unsure. So, pasok dito yung manipulation since very fragile ang memory ng mga bata. It can create some events even though yung event na yun at di talaga nangyari. So, ang mangyayari niyan, mapipressure ang bata. Usually, mali ang sagot nila or nagkakamali sila ng mga sagot. Kumbaga, paiba-iba yung sagot nila. Since, ang pagkakaalam nila usually ng mga matatanda na kapag bata, di marunong magsinungaling, which is not true. That, kumbaga, pwede silang mag-lie whenever whatever they want. So let's proceed and let's discuss the repressed memory. So what is the repressed memories? This area looks at memories that people may have buried due to trauma. Researchers explores how these memories can sometimes resurface and whether they are reliable. So, ito naman yung sa part na walang improvement sa taong na-depress since di sila makamove on sa past trauma nila. So, kumbaga nag-overthink sila, ginagambala sila ng memory na yon kasi kumbaga di nila tanggap yung nangyari. So, let's proceed to the effect of context on memory. Memory is influenced by various contexts including our emotion, moods, states of consciousness, and external environment. So, these factors shape how we encode, store, and retrieve information. So, the first one is schemas. These are mental frameworks that help us organize knowledge. So, ito na yung sa part na to is ito na yung memory which is nagre-result sa experience. For example, sa sports, kung anong specific sports yung na-master mo, kumbaga, sa instincts na lang yung reason bakit gumagalaw ka or also known as muscle memory. Mood and memory. Our emotional state at the time of encoding affects how we retrieve memories later. So, ito yung gaya ng positive memory na na-mention ko kanina, yung high self-esteem na nagre-result sa positive memory. So, once na naka-experience ka ulit ng high self-esteem, kumbaga, i-compare mo kasi yan sa nangyari noon sa'yo. Tapos, kumbaga, noon, bigla mo na lang masasabi na, ganito yung nangyari sa akin noon, napakasaya ko. So, ganun yun. So, state of consciousness. The condition under which learn can affect recall. If you study while under the influence of alcohol, you may remember that information better when you are again under the same influence. However, the negative effects of alcohol generally outweigh any benefits of memory retrieval. So, for example, kumbaga, uminom ka, tapos lasing ka usually kasi sa mga lasing, no? Nare-recall nila yung mga past events nila, like yung mga negative, positive na nangyari sa kanila, kumbaga accurately dahil sa alcohol, pero ang bad effect lang yun, yung memory, after mo uminom, since wala ka na maalala sa nangyari nung oras na yun, or mahirapan ka mag-recall sa nangyari or ng mga nasabi mo, bad man or positive ba yun, so ganun. Contextual effects, you are more likely to remember information if you are in the same environment where you learn it. So, for example, natuto ka ng driving sa province, tapos ngayon, kung natuto ka na mag-drive, yes, sa province, may mga techniques ka kasi na ma-recall within those events and it's because of the same environment na na-encounter mo ulit. So, may na-learn ka. So, lastly, encoding specificity. This principle states that retrieval is more successful when the context of encoding matches the context of the retrieval. So, ito naman is, ito na yung difference ng knowledge sa memory. Kumbaga, napagkamalan na mas madaling maalala yung natutunan kesa sa event na nangyari sa'yo noon. Unlike na kapag may natutunan ka while studying at naintindihan mo yung meaning nun, hindi mo na ito makakalimutan or kahit kumbaga hindi mo na siya makakalimutan kahit ilang taon pa yung nagdaan. Kumbaga marirecall mo siya anytime. Lastly but not the least, in conclusion, understanding the complex processes of the memory encompassing encoding, storage, and retrieval, along with the factors that influence memory distortion, highlights the importance of context and technique in shaping our recollection and underscores the need for critical evaluation of our memories, especially in contexts like eyewitnesses testimony. For example, recognizing that our memories can be influenced by emotional states and external context reminds us to be conscious when recalling events, particularly in a high-stakes situation like legal testimony where inaccuracies can be have significant consequence. So I hope that you have learned about memory process, that memory is not a perfect reflections of our past. It's a blend of context, feelings, and how we see things. So thank you so much for listening, everyone.